Trish. Welcome back to my kitchen. Tonight, my husband and I are going to Portland to see Hamilton. I am really excited for this. We've hired a babysitter to come and look after our puppies because they're only 2 weeks old and still require a bottle every couple of hours. So our babysitter will be here this evening. And when I have a babysitter, I like to leave a treat. This babysitter is vegan and gluten-free. So I am going to make oatmeal scotchies that fit all of her dietary requirements. It's a nice little extra that I like to do for people that help me out, is just have something available that they can snack on and makes them feel appreciated. What you're going to need to make this recipe is oatmeal. I use cassava flour. This is something I keep on hand. It's really great to bake with, and it also makes really good sugar cookies. You'll want to have some baking powder. I have some vegan butterscotch chips, some cinnamon, and I make it my habit when my bananas get old and brown, I take the skin off and put them in a freezer bag and save them for an occasion such as this. So today, I'm going to use the thawed bananas from the freezer. We'll put those in first thing. There are no measurements to this, so you can't mess it up. You just make the proportions how you like it, and it's going to turn out perfect. This is a nice recipe if you have children and they like to have a little treat after school, but you want to limit the sugar. There's no added sugar in this. The bananas, of course, have sugar, and the chips have some sugar in them, but there's no added brown sugar or anything. We'll take our oatmeal, and you want to just pour in enough to cover up the bananas, like that. That's what's going to give our cookie the bulk. And then we're going to add a little bit of cassava flour, and that's more of a binding ingredient. So we'll just sprinkle a little of that on the top. I've probably used a cup and a half of banana. At this point, I've probably used 3/4 of a cup of oatmeal, and I would say I used a tablespoon of cassava flour. So if you need measurements, that's a guide to go by. The baking powder is what's going to make it seem like more of a cookie. That gives it a little bit of loft when it bakes. And I've got about a teaspoon here. So we'll mix all this together with a fork, and then we'll assess what it looks like and decide if we need to add anything additional. Okay, it's very banana-centric right now. The bananas function as our eggs. It kind of holds it together. I am going to add more oatmeal. So I'll probably add 3/4 of a cup to this, and we'll mix that in and see what that looks like. I don't have exact measurements for this because it's a recipe I use from what I have on hand, and it changes. Sometimes I use peanut butter, or I'll use chocolate chips, or you can use raisins. So it's just whatever supplies I have on hand. I've just added another 1/2 cup of oatmeal. Okay, this is what it looks like right now. It's still kind of wet, but we're getting really close to what we want. I'm going to put in a little more cassava flour and probably another 1/4 cup of the oats. That's about a 1/4 cup of cassava flour and another 1/4 cup of oats. It is not a crisis if you don't measure. The cookies will still be fine. There's a lot of flexibility here. And I have to change it depending on what I'm adding to flavor it. So, for example, if I use peanut butter, I don't need as many bananas. Oh, this is perfect. This looks just like the oatmeal cookie dough that we're used to seeing. So there we go. With a mixed up like this, I am going to add some cinnamon. I like that it just gives my cookies a little something extra, and you know how I feel about being extra. It smells really good when they're baking too. And now we're going to mix in our vegan butterscotch chips. Oh, perfect. This smells just like the old-fashioned oatmeal butterscotch cookies that I grew up with. These are going to be a fun treat for my babysitter. Okay, this is what my dough looks like when it's combined. So it's pretty thick. What I'm going to do is use my ice cream scooper, and I don't want to fill the whole thing because it's kind of a big scoop. I'm going to put it on my lined baking sheet. I'm going to take the fork and I'm going to push these down and just flatten them out a little bit. I'll give them a nice shape. Okay, this is what my cookies look like. I'm going to put them into a preheated oven at 350 degrees, and I'm going to check on them in about 10 minutes. Our cookies have been baking for 12 minutes. They look perfect. It's important that they not get too dry. They're nice and springy, so we'll take those out. Vegan and gluten-free oatmeal scotchies. These are completely guilt-free. Bon appetit!